enjoy that life. You're going to work forever. You're never going to get to take a vacation without losing something in that process. It's all a matter of making sure that people understand that you got to put your money in the right place. Right. And know who you are as a company and not just waste money because that's what you're supposed to do, because that's what everybody tells you to do. Because the people who are telling you to do that usually have more money than you.
That's it.
And I mean, that's the God's honest truth is don't waste money on things you can't afford. So
Tommy Melo, he'll do his talk. You don't need more leads, right? You just need to do better with the leads you have, and that's right most of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, most contractors can do better with their leads.
Welcome back to Let's Vent podcast. Today we've got on Paul Olsen and Kyle Sattler. We are with Soo Good Marketing Solutions. I had the chance to meet with them at AHR last year in 2025. Of course, as you know, if you listen to the first episode, it took me a minute to get this thing rolling, but had a great conversation with them down there and how they were able to help grow the company that Paul was working at, an HVAC company down in Austin, Texas. 55% growth in 2024 with only a 3% marketing spend. So we dove into all the things that they did there and some of the things that they're doing was so good to help other home service companies across the nation grow. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. So you guys were with Koala Heating and Cooling, obviously, down in Austin, Texas. You're running an amazing business there. You were at another HVAC company before that, grew it massively over a very short period of time. In terms of percentage growth. Started with Koala, bought into the company, took over and launched the whole HVAC division, took that off as well, growing it another 150%, 200%.
So 55. So, yeah. Well, Koala Cooling was already in existence on the HVAC side. We launched plumbing when I came on in May 2023. Right. And so we went from basically doing very little plumbing in 2023, flash forward 2024, was like from $100,000 to $1 million in 1 year. So, I mean, it's a significant jump, 10x for 1 year. And so this year we're anticipating somewhere between 2.5 and 3, depending. There's a few things that have to happen for us to get to the 3 line, but we're already tracking at 2.5, and that's just in the plumbing side. Right. HVAC is already up and running and already going. That's kind of been the breadwinner. So, streamlining, building out partnerships, and hiring techs. That's always its own level of fun.
Well, and even buying into the company, the fact that there was your business partner, and what was his name again?
Scott Feller.
Scott, yeah. Was running a roofing company, got a little bored, said, I want to start the HVAC side, got that up and running, and then you guys came in and have really launched it and taken and ran with it, which is amazing. I find the whole thing fascinating, just how it got going and how you got into it. So,
well, it's something not to be understated on what Scott did. He took a small 2-man company and 10x it over 4 years. So I mean, he had something going. But what we do in our onboarding is we say something was missing. So in 2023, they brought Paul and I in and kind of helped grow that to what that looks like today, and it kept going from there. So
got it. And the other part we're going to get into just throughout the conversation, but you started Soo Good this last year as well. And was it this last year or 2 years ago?
It was it was last year.
It was last year. And it's taken off and become a whole beast all on its own. And it's impacted obviously Koala, but now other companies too. So give us a quick rundown on where the birth of that came from.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'll take this. Ultimately, it's something I've been working on for a while of trying to figure out a way to rank in Google Maps that was specific and intentional, not just, hey, we're going to get as many reviews as possible. Not it's all based on my location, stuff like that. I'm going to post because Google says I should, but how do you actually do that, right? Google doesn't do anything that's not algorithmic, right? Everything they do has a way of moving and flowing that they want you to follow, and they'll never tell you what it is, right? That's their whole thing. And what they do tell you, they lie because they're a giant corporation. It's almost like the government. So anyway, I worked on this, and we're in the PE capital of the world in Austin, Texas, and we just could not afford to play the PPC game. Plain and simple, couldn't afford to play the PPC game. SEO, we couldn't wait for SEO for us to try to make the company profitable and actually function. And so I just came to Paul. I was like, I've got this. I think it'll work. What do you think? We launched it in April, and by September, we were ranking higher and getting more leads, and it was our number one lead source for Koala Cooling in the year of 2024.
Right.
So when you look at that, our average ticket off of that was over $3,000. Like, I mean, it's crazy. All the numbers were just way up there. It was nuts.
It's high intent customers. I mean, that's the thing. When people jump on their phone and they're looking for a service or any local business, they're doing it with intent. They're not going, hey, I wonder if there's a plumber that works in my neighborhood. I mean, they're doing that because their water heater is physically leaking through their ceiling or something like that. And so capturing those high intent customers was our goal. And to be really honest, in 2023, we weren't good at that.
Right.
And we couldn't afford to keep pace with how quickly that, like, we were getting, PE firms were running up the price. I mean, I don't want it to sound like we hate PE firms. Actually, PE firms have their place just like everybody else.
Of course.
But when your pockets are deeper and you have the ability to kind of drive up the price, and then, you can live for a few years in that realm and kind of push everybody else out. And that's what was happening. It was a great business model.
Right.
I mean, not great for us, but so Good was it just came out of necessity.
Right.
Kyle had been working on it, and he told me about it, and we talked about it, and I was like, look, man, at this point, what's the worst that can happen?
Right.
I mean, our maps weren't terrible for AC repairs, but they weren't great. And I'm like, we don't even exist in the plumbing world.
Right.
Like, I mean, green is good on the maps, red is bad, and plumbing was almost all red. Like,
We had a ranking
how do we go below 20?
19.43 was where our ranking was when we started.
Right.
By the time 6 months in, we were in the high sixes on an average on your grid. So I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Nobody's finding you if you're 18 or 20 or number 400. It
really doesn't matter.
You become invisible then. So
Yeah.
in that world, it was like, we can't do worse. So let's just do it. And over a course of working on that and then having meetings between myself, Kyle, and Kayla, who's the marketing director at marketing coordinator. Sorry, I just promoted her accidentally. Marketing coordinator. Yeah. This is a dry promotion.
It's our third time to do that to Kayla, by the way.
Yeah. She's the marketing coordinator for us. We just think tanked the additions to where Kyle's program was and said, what, tweak this, tweak that, and continued to improve it, break it. We tanked our maps more than once, going, this is probably going to help us. And I mean, no, yeah, and that is the thing about Google. I mean, never getting banned. That we haven't been banned, nothing like that. But how you rank, you can tank it. I mean, there's a method to the madness behind the scenes. There's an algorithm that Google's using, and when you go upstream, so to speak, it just buries you. It's kind of shocking how fast that can actually happen. We have some reports where it's like, we've got 70% of the share of local voice, we're really killing it. And then 1 week later, we're at 15%. And we're like, oh crap. Okay. So we got to make that adjustment back. And we do that on our own. And that's how we got to where we are. So we're just going to, any changes we make them internally. We see what that result is. If it improves, then we actually put that into play into our system.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the things about SEO that I gave a message at one of the Service Titan Marketing Pro summits on SEO and the changes of the algorithm and what AI is going to do to that. And it was really fun to give that message and to start it off to contractors and say, imagine for a second you got a new heat pump that you had to go install. And the manual that you got gave you bare bones instructions, but then there were all these new parts to it that you had no idea what they did. That's what we do on a daily basis. It's trial and error, nonstop, test, repeat, evaluate. It's constant and it never ends because they change the algorithm. I think it was 680 times a year. Yeah. On average, twice a day, they're changing the algorithm. It's a mess and it's so difficult to master.
It's meant not to. And what you're saying there is really funny because anybody in the AC world now should be able to understand. It's like, imagine A2L2, all the refrigerant changes happen, but you find out they are happening when your new piece of equipment shows up and there's no directions.
None.
And you only have 410A on the truck and you don't have 454 and your gauges aren't even set up for it. And now you have to make this system work right now. And that's kind of the world of working within any of Google's algorithms because they don't tell you anything.
Nothing.
It just shows up and then you're like, how do I make this work? Well, this is what I used to. Oh, that doesn't even work anymore. That tool doesn't fit. There's no, throw that away.
Yep.
That's probably the closest that I think any contractor, if you're listening to your contractor, that's what that would be like. And I don't know any contractors that didn't research the heck out of A2L2. I've spent, Kyle and I have sat in countless classes on that I know Kyle not being in the trades is like, man, this is making me just want to,
I mean, because I say again, this is part of a conversation that's not been recorded, but I've been in marketing my entire life up until about 3 years ago when this guy convinced me to not be in marketing and actually go into home services with him, which I'm still not decided if I'm grateful for or not. But 3 years later, I pulled him back into marketing with me and was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You mentioned the changes in the ebbs and flows, and I think there's a lot of people that understand the frustration with that from a marketing side. One of the things that I deal with, because people go, well, what is it? What do you do over and over? Marketing companies specifically, what do you do? What do you do? I trained Paul really well. I appreciate it. He goes, it's all proprietary. It's I'll dig a little bit deeper because I know, as far as I can go. And basically it's just an algorithm that's predictive, and it chooses. I say there's two rivers. There's a hard river that's going to be rough and it's going to be like whitewater rapids, and there's one that's just soft and easy to go on. It's choosing the path that tries to make the right choice to go down the soft and easy one. Right. That's all that our system does, is it tries to make the right choice. Right. And guess what's going to happen there. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go from here, but you go ahead and continue with your questions.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's dive into this. The theme of the show, let's vent. Right? Yeah. What is it that's on your mind that you just want to get out there, stand on your soapbox, you got your megaphone? What's the message that you want to give to contractors, whether it's on the quali side or whether it's on the Soo Good side, with the marketing side of things? But I'll give you the platform. You can stand up on your soapbox.
Yeah, I'll stand on the soapbox from the contractor side. So been in plumbing for 22 years. Yeah, 22 years. And been in AC for 9. So I've been in the field most of my life. And then when I got into management, the thing that, one, people don't do a good job of teaching, which is a different rant. That's for all my contractors that are listening. Like, learn from somebody and then teach it, right? So, but marketing is probably the biggest pain point that any contractor deals with, because there's a lot of bad actors out there, right? And then on top of that, you've got a lot of big companies that have a lot of money to spend, and they don't hire the bad actors. Right. They know who the good marketing firms are, or they have good internal marketing, so they can spend a lot more money than you can, and that money is going to return a lot more than yours probably is going to return. And in the world of being a small company, and we, at the end of 2024, at the end of 2023, we were 2.2 million as a whole, and we ended 2024 at 3.5. That is a baby company in Austin, Texas. That almost is. It's almost invisible in the world of PE firms that are close to $1 billion. Yeah. I mean, we're insignificant to them, and so paying crazy amount of money for leads without a guy like Kyle. Before Kyle existed, working with me is one of the reasons I sucked him into the trades with me. Was
I existed, but
before he existed in the trades, I was lost most of the time. I knew if I had a BS keyword from, one of my marketing firms that they're like, garbage disposal repair in North Austin or Northwest Sienna Hills subdivision, you're like, that's crap. Who's putting all that into the search query of Google, right? They call that, is that long tail? Is that what they call that?
Long tail, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that's just a BS search term that I can be on the first page for. I mean, I knew that was wrong, but I didn't know what was right or how to get there. Yeah. And honestly, I would have ventured to say that I feel like there maybe some marketing firms really need to take notice of the frustrations that contractors are having with just bad actors and poor performers in the marketing world. I love, like, Ryan Redding. He's great because he's going to tell you, he's going to tell you straight, and he's going to, like, give you those, how do I say this? This might need to be cut up a little bit, but he's going to tell you straight, and he's going to tell you, like, sometimes you don't need more leads. Sometimes you need to do a better job as a contractor, which marketers should do.
Yes.
But when you aren't getting leads and going to the contractor and saying you need to do better, that's a different conversation. And I've been in both conversations, and being the guy that's being held accountable is a rough spot, but if it's real, it's real. So I mean, you're in marketing, Evan. If your contractor is getting leads and they're squandering them, that's hard to get and it costs a lot of money. You should be saying, you guys need to do a better job of booking, or your guys need some training out there in the field because they're not closing these jobs. Yep. Those people are high intent customers and they're not spending any money.
Yep.
But I'll get off my soapbox on that. But there's a lot of marketing firms that tell the contractor you need to do a better job when the phone doesn't ring,
right,
because they really don't have anything to offer. And in that world, it's frustrating for me that those people continue to be hired, continue to survive in the trade, while the tradespeople can't really decipher, which honestly, they really need people that are doing fractional CMO work so they can really point them in the direction. So plug for you guys at Free Agency.
Appreciate that. No, it's from a marketing perspective, one, the reporting needs to be done better. It just does. Relying on tools like a SEMrush or an agency analytics to provide the data back, but there's no translation of what it means to the contractor. It's a huge, huge gap when it comes to transparency, right? And that's something that we strive for at Free Agency. That's why we do all of our reporting within Service Titan, right? Because it's where you live on a daily basis, right? So making sure all the campaigns are tracked, making sure everything is attributed as best as humanly possible. It's never going to be perfect, but at the end of the day, it's calls and book jobs, right? How many lead calls did we actually get? How many jobs did we get on the board? How many of those were new customers? That's it, right? And then from there, yes, do we care about revenue? Of course. Average ticket, average sale, all of that is important. It needs to be looked at, but definitely from a marketing company's perspective, focus on the calls, focus on the book jobs, and now you can have real conversations. Is it a lead quality issue or is it a CSR issue? Right. And now you can have some transparent conversations around it.
I actually had a marketing person talking to me last night that was like, but the companies you work with, what's their profitability? I'm like, I'm a marketing company. Like for my company, I know what our profitability is. I know what we're shooting for, but I can't handle those things down the line. Once I get you the lead, like we can tell you, hey, this is your problem. We can try to help with that. Honestly, there's probably a better marketing situation to do that, like Free Agency, to be like, hey, this is actually where you're going to pinpoint the problem. I just want to get people leads in that. But yeah, that's something that's like, how far does a marketing company need to go into the company to make those determinations? And it's easy when you have a CRM that'll peg all that stuff and dig it down for you. But if you don't, and you're using a second-rate CRM or things like that, not doing call tracking or things of that nature, I'm going, at what point am I going to be able to even fulfill that request from somebody to dig down to their profitability percentages?
Right. Well, and that's where a tool like, have you guys seen ProfitFill? Have you heard of that one?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so this is Amanda Wilhelm. She's amazing. She's out of Calgary, Alberta, another Canadian. But she developed a product where it's looking at your job capacity. And it's utilizing Google Ads to run when you need jobs booked, right? So it's based on business units in Service Titan. So it's only going to run ads if you have availability in your calendar for the specific time period that it's set for. So maintenance could be set for 5 days or 2 weeks, or sales could be set for 5 days, but repairs is only set for a day or two, because people don't wait when their AC is broken and it's 100 degrees out in Austin, Texas, right? And so it's only going to run PPC to capture those last few jobs that are still on your calendar that your maps didn't pick up yet, right? And so it's a really, really cool tool. But to your point, those are the most profitable jobs because your overhead's already covered from your SEO, right? And that's your flat base rate that you pay the same fee every single month, and it's filled up majority of your calendar, but maybe not all of it. Well, would you rather have your technician go home early or go run one more call that, maybe it did cost you $400 or $500 to get that lead, but you have the opportunity to be more profitable because you still had that job?
Well, that's going to be filling the board when you just have a couple of short spots. Yes. If you can fill with a high intent customer, I mean, that's killer. That sounds like a product that we need to check out. So offline, I need you to make a connection here, because that sounds really awesome. Because I mean, 2024 we shut off all PPC. We're still running the same base website that got built by Kyle in 2019. And so we're not winning in those realms, but it really just came down to, when you're trying to grow a division that doesn't exist and buying trucks and hiring people, it was about saying, hey, we're little, we need to be nimble, and we don't have to win everywhere.
Yeah.
If we can win in some targeted areas, it would have been nice to have a tool like that to say, hey, because there were some times in that 2024 where it's like we really could use one or two calls just here and there, and not just having, PPC turned on and click, 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 click. I mean, I don't know how many horror stories I've heard of people saying, oh man, I spent $10,000 on a Saturday and then my guy on call didn't answer the phone. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to be that guy. So, 100%. Keeping that turned off all the time isn't a really good solution either. So that actually sounds like that would really hit a pain point for companies like ours. Yeah.
It's pretty neat. It's good. Yeah. What about for you? What
for me to vent? So I don't know how controversial you want me to go. So I've got two things that I
go all the way.
Well, this is a
channel your inner
marketing
Tim
podcast.
Brown here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I'll make this a two-parter. It's going to be website and SEO, right? I need people to understand that Google does not care about your website. They care about your SEO. They don't care about your website. Graphic design's great. The design of it, you want it to be user-friendly, good UI, all those things. But at the end of the day, Google wants people on Google. Yep. That's why most people go through Google Maps. That's why Google Maps is the 3-pack. That's why Google pushes their software first, their system first for reviews and things like that. They never want you to go to their crappy website. They just really don't. Yep. So when you're taking 10 months to build a website with a company that's charging you $15,000, great. Make sure it's what you want it to be, but make sure it's what you want it to be for you and the customers that get on there. Yeah. Don't put all your eggs in that basket. And if you don't have $15,000 to spend on a website and you need to put that into a better funnel for marketing, then put that into a better funnel for marketing. And then from there, SEO takes too freaking long. There's so much clutter out there, and you have to get more long tail, more. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I get so exhausted with that. One of the things that is great about Soo Good is it's cheaper than PPC. Paul's talking about price. It's just PPC is ridiculous, but it's faster than SEO. Right. It's what SEO used to be once upon a time. Not once upon a time whenever you put yahoo.yourwebsite.com. That's my dad was an old school SEO guy. Like that's literally what he did to get SEO up. Subdomain that crap.
Yeah.
But
whenever URL had near me in it.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that far back, but far enough back where you could get results really in 3 months and actually have a significant amount of results from it because it wasn't so saturated. Right. Now, there's such an oversaturation of everything. Even when you're using your AI tool, or not your AI, your SEO tools in your, I'm assuming WordPress, because that's what 90% of websites are built on the internet these days. When you're using those tools in there and they go, oh, you're all green, don't expect that crap to rank anytime soon. Backlinks, building backlinks takes forever. There's new domain authority levels almost every freaking day. I mean, it's crazy. As you can tell, I am a marketer more than the Google Maps stuff, but I'm just like, don't wait so long for SEO. Don't spend all your money on a website that Google doesn't want them to see. It's all a matter of making sure that people understand that you got to put your money in the right place. Right. And know who you are as a company and not just waste money because that's what you're supposed to do, because that's what everybody tells you to do. Because the people who are telling you to do that usually have more money than you. That's it. And I mean, that's the God's honest truth is don't waste money on things you can't afford. So,
well, Tommy Melo, he'll do his talk. You don't need more leads, right? You just need to do better with the leads you have. And that's right most of the time. Yeah. I mean, most contractors can do better with their leads. But I would venture to say not all of them can do better with their leads. I mean, if your booking rate is over 85%, then you're talking fractional growth to get to 90, and that'll take a really long time. If your CSR team is that good, if your technicians are closing over 70% of their jobs and their average tickets are, $1,200 or higher, you're doing really well. Right. And that means you do need more leads if you're still not able to, keep your board full. So it's really, you do need to know your numbers, right? I hear people say all the time, know your numbers. But in this regard, if your techs aren't closing, over 60% and average ticket's 600 and your CSRs are booking 60% of your leads, you don't really need more leads. You need to train your team.
Correct.
And so, that's the two very different things.
They are. No, and it's, have you guys ever been out to Any Hour? The office?
Not yet.
No. Not yet?
It's on my short list.
They obsess over training. It's no wonder that they're a $120 million company at their one office. let alone the group that's over $500 million now almost, I think. It's tremendous to see what they do on a training level. Because not only do they train all of the technicians, all the CSRs, make sure that there's group training and one-on-one training, but they also make sure that they train their trainers, they train the managers, and they obsess over leadership training, and they'll go deep into a book. I think they said it took them almost 2 years to get through the 7 Habits. Wow. Because they obsessed over the book and making sure that they hit on every single habit in multiple different ways. And then they talked about all the different ways that they saw it happening in their teams, how they could be better at implementing those within the teams. It was incredible to see. Their office tour is second to none. Highly recommend it. Go reach out to Dustin Van Ormen. He'll make sure that he sets up a tour for you guys. It really is absolutely incredible to see how they functioned. But when I went through that tour at the office, every question that I was asking was around, but where did you start? How did you get to this place? And it was a constant asking of questions of where can we be more efficient? Where can we be better? You know, to take the load time on the install trucks from an hour to 30 minutes to 5 minutes, and looking at ways to get better at that, to making sure that our our service techs are not coming back into the office to replenish their trucks. And they've got their Tooth Fairy program, which I know Tim Brown just talked about a couple weeks ago and put that out. Little areas of improvement to find efficiencies within the business is so important. And when you talk about a company that's looking to grow 20%, 30%, 50%, it's not just about growing your amount of leads in order to do that. It's finding the little intricate ways that you can improve all the way throughout the funnel. How can you get 2% better at growing your leads? How can you get 2% better at your booking rate? And then 2% better on your run rate? And then 2% better on the call itself and closing, but also the average ticket. And then the runtime in between, and making sure that that's better. I know you're a big proponent of running the best call possible every single time, yes, and pulling that blower motor.
Yeah. We definitely, our guys, there's guys that come work for us, and it's like when we're interviewing them, we ask them how they feel about that particular practice. Yeah. And everybody in interviews like, that's great. And then they start running calls and they're like, well, it's really hot in these attics. And it's sucks. Like, okay. But that's what we do, because that's the next level that we offer to our client, that they see a value. We're not charging them any extra. We just pull it. We take it to them. We show them, one, is the wheel loose in any way? Is there a bearing issue about to happen? Is it dirty? If it's in great shape, we still pull it and we take it to them and say, hey, your blower wheel's great. I just wanted you to know what you guys are doing. Keep doing it. That's what you need to be doing to take care of your system. But the reality is most homeowners don't use the right filters or don't change them enough, and the blower wheel is getting dirty. Yep. And there's opportunity there. And if you're not taking the extra step, then you're leaving that customer system to break down later, and you're leaving money on the table. Yep. I mean, the customer doesn't want to break down. They're more than happy to give you the money. I mean, we do a 90-day breakdown free guarantee. Thank you, Victor. Victor he's the one who kind of pushes that. That's where we learned it. And so that right there, when we give that, I can't give that if I didn't take the blower wheel out and check it. Like, I mean, I'm just going to start buying blower motors, blower wheels. I'm going to be buying coil. Like, I don't need to be spending that money. That if the customer needs something fixed, take it to them, show it to them, and they're going to hire you.
Right. Yeah. One of the biggest things we focus on is communication and teaching our techs to communicate. We literally, between every part of the system, they're supposed to stop and talk to customers. And I don't care what they're talking to them about. It can be a comfort question. It can be a technical question. It can be anything. Paul talked about the blower wheel. Pulling it, showing it to them. It does two things. One, it lets them know this is important, because I'm stopping everything else I'm doing. I've been here now for almost an hour, and I'm stopping everything I'm doing to come and show you something. And we do that multiple times, but blower wheels are the biggest ones for us. It's just, I mean, it's a big unit you're carrying out there. It does that to tell them it's important. But two, it prevents sticker shock. Yeah. If you have, if you're sitting and listening to this or walking whatever, and you're going, I can't sell at a higher price, I can't do this, that's because you're not communicating. Correct. It has nothing to do with the price. Because if a customer feels that what you're saying is important, then they're going to spend money on it. And so it prevents sticker shock. So they're going, oh man, he's showing me 7 freaking things. 7 things. He stopped what he's doing and come show me and talk to me about. This is going to be expensive. I'm going to spend a ton of money. And then you get to the actual quote and it's like, well, this one is exactly what I was expecting. The highest one, I really don't want to spend that much, but I can take the second one down, and if you offer 4 to 5 options, you're going to get someone to pick the middle to the middle high when you provide that kind of value. So ultimately, that's the biggest thing, in my opinion, when you're in the field as a non-field guy, but as someone who's done customer service and sales and stuff like that his entire life. Communication builds value. Correct. Value is what you sell on if you're any good at what you do. Yeah. Now, if you don't want to be that guy, you want to be someone who I'm the cheapest guy out there, that is fine. Enjoy that life. You're going to work forever. You're never going to get to take a vacation without losing something in that process.
Yep, 100%. I love that. That was a rant worth going on. I appreciate that. No, it is. It's all about communicating value and making sure that you're hitting home on all those points. And when you're able to show proof behind what it is that you're trying to sell, and you're not trying to sell something that they don't actually need, it provides a service to the customer. It's not a sales pitch. You're not the used car salesman that every technician fears they're going to become. Right? And sales feels like a dirty word to a lot of techs. They got into to being a technician so that they could repair shit and work on shit, not to try and sell stuff, right? And so coming from that place, it allows you to get on the same side of the table as the customer instead of being across from them.
Yeah, I mean, I got in the trade myself to fix things, and if I can fix something, make somebody's life a little better, get something up and running, I'm doing something good out there in society. And then I was very against sales for most of my career. I'm probably the first 8 or 9 years, and but I was really good at sales. I just did never call it sales, right? So giving options, quoting jobs, showing the customers what's wrong. So what's funny is when Kyle and I partnered up, Kyle was like, hey, we need to duplicate what you do. And so we wrote our own training, a 2-day training, we call it the Qualified Process Training, but it's based on the system that I used for a long time, based on somewhat of what we learned through some of our partners, through guys like Victor or Nexstar, Certain Path, those people, and we've basically smashed them all together to make our own training. And you mentioned any hours training protocols, and I do want to get out there and see them. I saw Dustin last night, and he was like, "Hey, when are you coming out?" I'm like, "Oh man, saw him like 3 weeks ago."
We had dinner with him 3 weeks ago, so it's kind of like we probably should go out there.
Probably, yeah. Right now, I'm just like I'm on blast now. When he sees me, he's going to ask me that. But I want to see how their training goes, because we work every day within Koala to be better at training, right, and to increase our teams, their knowledge, their credibility, their value to the customer, and we train and we train and we train. But when you say they train the managers and the managers train, that's probably a hole for us. We don't do nearly as much of that. We've done some leadership training with some of our leaders last year. We're bringing in some additional leadership training this year, but we're not doing that at the same rate that we're doing for our techs. Mm-hmm. And so eventually we're going to outpace the techs' growth will outpace what the managers can deliver. Right. So that when you brought that up about any, I was like, dang man, there's a hole. But that's honestly why I love meeting and talking to people and networking, because you find holes in your business when you find out what other people are doing, and you're like, wow, that's something I need to implement like today.
Right. I'm going to have a point of realization here, and I'm just going to, sorry, Evan, I'm just going to, our techs constantly want to, they're the A players. They have, intent. They want to grow. They're probably going to be extremely shocked when they move into leadership positions and realize we don't have the same type of training for our leaders as we do for everybody else. So thanks for bringing that up. Moment of realization here. And yeah, you're kind of a jerk right now. So anyway, let's continue. I thought we were doing well. Came in here talking about how great we are. And now I'm like, man, no, we kind of screw our leaders over a little bit. So we're going to have to fix that crap. So sorry, Michelle, Renee, and Ty.
Can I do a rant on Evan putting us on blast on his own podcast, brings us here to be like, hey guys, you guys think you're doing good, but these are the holes you guys have. We really appreciate that.
Well, it's funny. I've had this conversation with a few people around ignorance is bliss, and it's not. Ignorance is pain, right? To not know what you don't know is so painful, and it's so frustrating when you find it out and you figure it out, and you're like,
we just happened to get this one on camera. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
No worries.
I love it. I mean, honestly, this is how I've built my whole thing. You notice I name drop along the way because those people bring value to me, and I want to make sure that I'm not out there stealing their stuff and like, hey, this is something I got from this person, and you should look them up, right? I mean, if you think you don't, like, you need more leads, but your booking rate sucks and things like that, you don't need to hear me talk. You need to look up Tommy Melo. I mean, that guy is going to put you in your place, and the odds are he's better at business than you are. He's better at it than most, right? I mean, that's just kind of why I want to make sure I learn from everybody that I can. I'm just a sponge. Most of my stuff is non-original. I'm vanilla ice cream. That's who I am. And honestly, it's gotten me really far in life to be humble about myself and what I can learn from others. So,
well, one of the things that I really admire about Tommy, just because you brought him up anyways, is he's incredibly humble, number one, but the speed of execution. You know, he's not trying to win the game 3-0. He's not trying to make 3 right decisions to no wrong ones. He's trying to win 150 to 149, right? And when he makes a mistake, it's pivot quickly and get on to the next thing. And he did talk about, I think it was Service World last year. He talked about how frustrating it was to be a big company because he's no longer a speedboat. He's a fucking cruise ship. Right?
He can't turn.
And it's so hard to turn, but he's wanting to get back to being that speedboat again, to making quick pivots and quick adjustments, to be able to make changes on the fly, kind of like your algorithm's doing, right? Where it's able to make the right decisions in real time, faster than a human being necessarily could do on every account that they're working on, right? So being able to have tools in place to help you make quick decisions and make a lot of them very quickly and pivot when it's the wrong one. I think it's all fascinating to watch. I love watching him do what he does. I love that he's documenting more of it. I just watched one of his reels this morning where he went out to Atlanta to go launch one of his new offices there, right? To see how quickly he's moving through that office tour, radio ads, video ads, it goes to a BNI meeting, and it's all in one day. And it's just like, man, that guy just goes and goes and goes. We're going to be doing a health podcast here on Thursday, and it's kind of talking about some of the stuff that he's doing.
Thank you for not inviting me to that one. I appreciate it. I'm not the guy there. Appreciate that.
But to go back to the algorithm and the program that you're running there, I want to make sure that people understand what it is that it can do for them and the power of the MapPack. So real quick, what is the MapPack on the Google result page for those that don't understand that part of it? And then what are some things that people can implement on their own in order to help rank on there a little bit quicker before maybe even, and who is a good fit for Soo Good?
Yeah.
There's a lot of questions.
You want me to take this?
So
yeah, no, that's
okay, great. So ultimately, MapPack, pretty simple. It's the top 3 ranked from any specific location. When you're on your phone, you look it up, MapPack is going to be on your search, right? Yeah. We always say that 97% of people, well, it's not our statistics, Google's, go through the maps whether they know it or not, and that's because they use the MapPack. So when you pull it up and you see the reviews and things like that, and you see the little map, that's the MapPack. That's on search. Yeah. Now the opposite side is 12% of people go to the actual maps to do actual searching. So you want to make sure if you're above 3, you can still be found there, but you're only playing in a pool of 12%, right? You want to play in the 97% pool. So you want to try to get in that top 3. That's what our system does. Is it basically expands the ability for you to get in the top 3 into multiple areas that you want to focus on. We do a 13 by 13 mile grid for profitability's sake. In all honesty, that's why we built it for us, profitability. So our trucks aren't driving all over the place. But that's the MapPack. That's what it basically, the algorithmic stuff does. Sorry, the words slipped me again. Sorry. So past that, though, what people can do, and if they want, if it's cool for me to pitch this, we have a free ebook on our website. You can go to SoGoodTeam.com, and it's called Pin Drop Profit. And I wrote it. It's an hour read, and it has all the stuff you can literally do without us, and it's free. You literally just sign up, and the book's right there. So, but the big things are make sure you actually put posts, fill out everything on there, put your services, put your products, put everything on there, and then post, and then put pictures on there. It's that simple. It's very simple, because here's what people don't, and there's my rant. Here's what people don't understand that I do, and why I was able to make this this system in the first place is Google Maps And the Google Business Profile is a social media network. It is. It was built literally in 2015 is when they transitioned it with Google Plus Places. Now, Google Plus disappeared in 2019, but the core of what that was, still the same. Right. So all it wants is content. Now, our system goes, what does a 2015 content machine want? How do I make that work? So if you've ever posted on Facebook, you post at 2:30, you might get this much reach. If you post at 10 o'clock at night, you might get this much reach. Our system does that. It goes, where's the proper time to post and how much do I post and things of that nature to determine what's my best reach for Google to go, I need to push these guys up because they need more reach. They're active, they're moving.
Right. Yeah. Can I grab the last question, which was
yes.
who?
Before we get into that, I just want to make sure we ask this one. How often and what should we post on Google versus social?
Oh, well, I don't do a lot of social. Literally, it's the worst thing that I have in my marketing.
And that's my concern is that guys start thinking, oh, shit, I got another thing to post on, and I got to come up with this creative content again. I got to make videos, and that's not what it is.
No.
So I just want to make sure we get
traveled to 2015. Primarily, you're looking at images.
Yep.
Images is what you're posting, and then they have literally your post or your updates is what it's called. Yep. There are people who post every day. There are people who post 3 times a week. There are companies that will sell you Google Business Profile services that post once a month. Don't hire those guys. That's terrible. So to me, it's like any other social media from 2015. Post a few times a week, post a few pictures here and there, stuff like that. Again, it's all in the book. And I say that not to just pitch the book, but I say that because the proprietary part that we have and the thing that I don't share is not something that you absolutely have to have depending on your market. Right. And so that's the thing we're honest about is sometimes the people aren't the right people for us because they don't have enough competition that they need our service. Right. We have 6 HVAC companies and 5 plumbing companies all within 1 mile of our building. I need someone who knows what the crap they're doing in maps to be able to beat all those guys. Right. And so that's kind of the thing is there are some people that you can do this yourself. You can have a social media person do this. It can be part of the gig. Right. And there's some people that they want to remain on top. They want to always be on top. They should hire us because everything that's in my book, I can beat it. But not everybody else can. So if you're not in a spot that someone else is using us, then I think you're in an okay place. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Who's the client, right? Who is the ideal person to work with Soo Good? I know you asked that question, maybe a little reworded, but it's not everybody, right? So we do need content from you, right? So if you don't have a CRM where you're capturing photos, putting in summaries of jobs, or you don't have company cam where we're at least going to be able to grab photos, it's probably not going to be the right fit. Mm-hmm. If you're literally one guy and you're taking like 3 photos a day, it's not the right fit. We do need a heavy amount of content, and then we need to choose the content. Some people, they want to filter the content. They're like, well, I want my shiny trucks, and I only want new pictures of water heaters or Google actually wants and they reward you for real content. Mm-hmm. Another thing that people don't really realize, Google wants to see in-progress jobs. They want to see you get dirty. If it's just pictures of your shop, pictures of your tech, pictures of your truck, that's not going to get you very far. So just trust us. It does need to be a little bit, we're scrappy, I guess is the right term. Of what you need to do on your site. So if you're going to do it yourself, put real photos. Right. Use real summaries from jobs. If you're not the best writer, you can have ChatGPT rewrite it. Right. But let's go ahead and make sure you're doing legit stuff here. Now, we installed this water heater over here. Nothing. It doesn't have to be a book. But honestly, if you're listening to this and you're going, man, now I need another place I need to go put content, and how am I going to get this done? Maybe you just need to call Soo Good. We'll run your maps. You can go on SooGoodTeam.com right now, and you can look up there. We have a self-test link. You can go on and get your own maps. It's going to send you the report. If the report's all green, 3s, 1s, 2s, or 3s, you don't need us. I'm not going to lie that this isn't a lead source. We get a lead when you do that. We get your email, and we also get the map. And if it's really bad, you're probably going to hear from me. But you probably want to. But if it's really good, I'm going to promise you, nobody from Soo Good is going to call you and say, hey, your map is amazing. I'm just going to let you go on down the road with an amazing map, you know? So that's our client is just somebody who needs our help. And you don't have to reach out, just jump on the site, do a self-test and see where you land.
Marketing isn't magic, it's math. At Free Agency, we've got the formula tattooed on our brains. We are not a digital marketing agency. We don't just throw things at the wall hoping they stick and call it strategy. We're a fractional CMO. The people who come in, grab the wheel, and drive your growth like it owes us money. Our system isn't guesswork. It's battle tested at the highest level. Last year, our clients averaged 45% growth. We've taken companies from 8 figures to 9 in just 12 months. And here's the kicker. We don't do it by blowing your budget. We do it by spending smarter and focusing on 4 core moves. 1, branding, to drive your brand in your market. 2, paid leads. We bring in high intent leads into the business, customers who are ready to buy. Conversion, focusing on turning those leads into clients. And lastly, nurturing, to increase the lifetime value of every single client. Every step is intentional. Every dollar is tracked. And if you're spending $1 million a year in marketing without a 10x return, you're flushing money down the drain. We work with ambitious, no BS contractors who don't just want to try marketing. They want to win. So if you're ready for 50 to 100% growth in the next 12 months, let's talk. At Free Agency, we don't just play the game. We rewrite the rules so that you win every time.
For businesses that are trying to grow and they want to expand outside that 13-mile radius, how many clients do you have that have multiple locations? Do you recommend that as something that they should be doing, to have multiple Google business profiles? Do you see that having multiple services under one profile helps or hurts?
So is this me again?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, I don't mind taking it. I'll jump on this. Okay. I'll take it.
I just got ready.
I know. I wanted you to. No, that's a great question. But yes, so we do have clients that have multiple locations, and we have clients that are looking to expand within their market from like north to south. Mm-hmm. And our recommendation is that they do get at least a storefront down there. Yes. We do help clients get through the Google verification process to make sure that they get to vet that Google says, yes, you're legitimately here and we can verify you, because Google's made that harder and harder and harder over time. So we have a system that we work within, we walk you through it. Right. I mean, if you were literally close enough, we could go do it for you. But the reality is we're not going to fly to Denver, Colorado to walk you through, but you can do it yourself. Yes. We do give you all the tools, all of the instruction of how to. Now, as far as services go, I'm actually going to let Kyle handle this one. He wants to talk about this one.
So bad. So Google only truly pushes out over 60% your primary category. So if that's the case, then every other category you have is stupid. Just being honest. Yeah. They should all back up your primary category. So Koala actually has 2 Google business profiles in the same office. It's something that is difficult to achieve, but it's actually something Google wants. And they started this for car dealerships where they didn't want the sales team to get beat up by the service guys who were screwing people over. So they started this, and car dealerships were really pushing Google to do this. And so they did that. So now anybody that has departments, universities, like different office spaces that have different doors, different entrances for the different departments, I'll leave that to whoever's imagination they can figure out. You can create its own department and give it its own primary category. Right. So the way we went from water heater repair being 19 to under 7 and having a share of local voice of over 60%. By the way, share of local voice means how many you rank in the top 3 on the MapPack, for the MapPack. Yeah, I need to make sure I do clarity in that. How we went from that is we created a GBP for plumbing. And then we made sure that it was built out the same way as our HVAC one. And that's how we ranked up. It's because, I mean, it is work and it is dirty, and Google will, just so everybody knows, you're going to go, he's a liar because I tried to do it. They're going to immediately suspend your butt. Yep. Not the one that's been established, but the new one is immediately going to get suspended. Yep. You got to work through that entire process. Yes. It is a pain.
Now, here's the fun part though. When you get a profile suspended, the likelihood of it getting suspended again is next to 0. Almost nothing. Yeah.
It almost never gets suspended again.
And so getting it suspended early is fantastic. You don't want it suspended when it's actually ranking and bringing in calls and you're dependent on it for leads, but get it done early. Do a little something, right? Like mess with it a little bit so you can get that suspension triggered, get it approved, and now you're golden, right? And you can play and bend the rules a little bit more later on. But yes, true to your point. And I was wondering if you were going to reveal the secret of what you guys were doing or not, because again, this is something that I talked about at that same summit in New Orleans. I was like, look, and I used Anyhower as the example. 20,000 Google reviews on their main Google business profile. Their primary category is HVAC. And guess what? Plumbing and electrical, barely any reach. Massive companies for that. They offer the service, but barely any reach because it's not their primary category. And so, obviously one thing that a lot of companies do is they'll flip-flop between the two, but it takes time to see those rankings actually get impacted when you make that change in the primary category. Having two set up for the same location, I've been banging the table for it for a long time. I have actually recently seen an uptick where it isn't the primary category, and we're starting to see that not matter as much, but it still matters.
And as long as it does, then it does. You got to make sure that you're playing the game Google wants you to play. That's our entire thing is, right? We want to take the game Google wants us to play and play that game. That's why I say your website doesn't matter that much, because Google wants you to stay on their social media platform and go through that to call somebody. They don't want you to do anything. They want you to read reviews, call that person.
Well, and look at LSA.
Yeah.
Right. Why did they come up with that? Because they didn't want you running PPC anymore.
Right.
Because you had to hire an agency to do it.
Yeah.
And the money you were paying them couldn't go to Google.
Well, I'll rant on that one. They've screwed that all up. But that's move on past that.
LSA is not what it used to be. Let's just say that
It definitely is not.
It's a train. It's a train wreck in progress right now.
It's and the weird thing is, and odd enough, we talked about Google not telling you what it is that actually helps rankings. We have one company where they have a profile that's not even near their service area, but it's crushing it on LSA, and they generate 0 reviews on it. It makes no sense at all, but it's doing incredible. Wow. So we just don't touch it.
Just don't touch it.
Just don't touch it. We're not going to look at
it. Just let it go.
Just let it do its thing.
Let it. And if they ever ask you, it's like, we're not. No, we don't.
No.
Yep, we don't ask.
I love that. So thank you so much for revealing that, because I'm a big believer in it as well. Generating reviews, though, for multiple profiles can be a challenge.
It can.
And it needs to be done. You can't just push all reviews to the one profile and stop growing it on your current one, because that will hurt your rankings on your current one. So how do you at Koala make sure that you're splitting up those reviews fairly, you're growing both, and then, of course, how do you coach clients on it for Soo Good?
Well, so for us internally, every time we go to a house, we immediately at the front door, this is a very Nexstar-esque way of doing business. We tell people we're going to give them 5-star review, 5-star service at the front door. If at any point we're not delivering 5-star, please stop us. When we're all done, we're going to ask you for that 5-star review. Is that going to be okay? And on the back of our badges, where our guys have their photo, on the back is the QR code. And when the customer scans that, it's going to prompt them to select from plumbing or HVAC. And so if they've had plumbing, they're typically going to select plumbing. If they select HVAC, they do. And we pay our guys $15 for every Google review that has their name in it. So we tell them, hey, ask the customer to put your name in it. Even help them do the review. They told you they would give you a 5-star review early on. They're going to go ahead and deliver that. They're not going to change their mind after the fact with you standing there. It's just not going to happen. Right. So we let them organically grow depending on who's doing what, right? So if I've got an AC tech and their AC guys are running in the summer, they're going to get more reviews than the plumbers. That just is what it is. Now, what happens is a lot, because AC's been around longer, the client has already given a review. Oh, I've already given a review to the HVAC. And then our HVAC guy goes, well, would you mind giving me a plumbing review? Just jumping on and saying, but just click on the plumbing link. You could still say that I fixed your air conditioner, it's fine, but just can you put that in there? I get $15. Customers will go ahead and do that. So when you're growing a new business model, like, hey, I did just split my services into 2 Google business profiles. And when the customer says, well, I've already given a review. Well, you haven't given it in this. Would you mind doing that? Right. I honestly don't know of any customer that hasn't said yes to that yet. So this is a high likelihood that they're going to get those. So that's what we do specifically. We don't use any of the other services that, like Podium or any of them, that request after the fact, because we do a really good job of capturing them at the door. I mean, that's what Koala does.
I love it.
Yeah, on another podcast, I was actually asked, like, what do you suggest for reviews? And I was like, ask there. the return on that is ridiculously high. And if you don't have the boldness, one, you're probably not doing something right in the first place. But two, then at least, go get a Podium, go get a PulseM, Service Titan, Marketing Pro. Get something that asks for the review. Don't just never get a review, because that just shoots you in the foot. At the end of the day, though, our process that we took a bit from Nexstar and then a bit from some other stuff we've done in the past as well with the badges and things like that. That one, we grew over 600 reviews in less than 18 months. And for a company that at that point had 4 technicians, that's a lot. That's a grip. And so, for us, that's what we recommend. If you say, what did we recommend for Soo Good? Get you a badge printer, or pay somebody to print you a badge, put a QR code on the back, have it linked to your review, call it a day, train your technician over and over and over, ask for the review. Ask for the review. Also, just so people knows the math of this, if you get a 1-star, you need 30 5-stars to negate that 1-star and keep your ranking up. So that's a lot of work. You need to make sure that you're good 30 out of one time, or 30 out of 31 times, you're good 30 of those times to get a 5-star. So make sure not only are you providing that service, but then you ask for the review. Make sure that happens. Be bold enough to do that.
100%.
And that's why we don't send it out after the fact. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, if you send it out after the fact and you say, hey, click on this link and give me the review, I mean, it's a little bit of a,
defense.
like, where are they going to be? When my technician is there and they're looking at the guy that just got their air conditioning running in the eye, you're telling me that guy who just came out of the attic and is just soaked in sweat and now their air conditioning works, that you're going to tell that guy that I'm going to give you a 1-star because you felt it was expensive? No, you're giving that guy a 5-star. But the keyboard warrior is taken out of the equation because it's human to human at that point. And it's funny, right? But it's a reality.
That just made me think of some keyboard warriors we've dealt with.
The guys, there have been a couple that will give the guy a 5-star when they leave, and then when the guy drives away, they'll jump back on and make it a 1-star, and then it's like, call him. And, hey,
what changed in those 45 seconds?
So my technician did a terrible job. Well, no, you're just really expensive. I was like, well, I just want you to know his name is on that 1-star. I mean, that affects him whether he works for me or goes somewhere else. You've got his name in there. I can't change that. If you want to me, I'll tell people, if you don't like the price, please take my technician's name out of it at least. Unless you think he did something wrong. He just charges the book right. But because that's probably the biggest one that people get combative about, is like, I thought the price was too high. Or I'm like, well, after I left, I Googled it and it should have cost this much. Boy, the internet, everything is so cheap on the internet. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I need to hire some people to do some work from the internet.
It was last week we were doing a training and we were talking about people saying, oh, it's too expensive, or the internet said it's too expensive. And I was like, we need to be bold enough, not actually do this, but be bold enough to at least think it in our minds of, let's look up how much you should make from the internet's perspective. Like how much you as a person should make at your job, and see if you're happy with that. Because, there's so much information from 2007, 2004, 2002. The internet goes back a long ways, and people have been making websites with inaccurate data forever.
It's Wikipedia.
Yeah, everyone blames Wikipedia, but there's so much other crap out there. Reddit's probably one of the biggest ones right now, where just any information you put out there, there's no verification of that. You can't trust what you read on these things.
Yeah, I remember being at, you mentioned Victor a bunch of times. I remember being at his, I guess it was the second Service Hero event at the time, the 10X1 in Vegas. And they had a Yelp representative come in. And of course, everyone there is just ready to jump on this guy, right? And Ish and Victor were up on stage. They did a panel together, and they talked about how, look, like at the end of the day, Yelp is what it is, but it's still a tool, and you still can be profitable off of it. Then the Yelp guy says, and you know what? One of the things we want to do for contractors and consumers is try and remove the price objection. So we're going to put a suggested price of what the replacement should cost. And holy shit, did that room lose it. Ish was up there like yelling in his face, like, you can't do that. You don't know what equipment should cost. And it was so funny. Yeah. So, yeah.
Those are probably two people that I wouldn't want to be on stage with. And I say that because, the Victor and Ish, neither one of them is going to, let's just say, use any real, they're just going to tell you straight. And it's one of the things I really love about them is that they don't pussyfoot around, so to speak. They're just going to tell you exactly what they're thinking, good or bad.
Yep.
And some people don't like it, but I can't even imagine. I'm sorry I missed that. I mean, I got to look and see if that's recorded somewhere.
In front seat. No, it was great, and it never went on Yelp. Right? They listened to the contractors, and it never actually made it onto there, which was fantastic, right? Because it was something that was going to hurt the relationship that they had, because they don't make money off of consumers. Yeah. They make money off of building value for consumers, but it's the contractors that actually end up paying the bill. I want to pivot here real quick before we wrap up. You talked a little bit at the beginning about bad marketing and like overpaying for a website and things like that. What are the red flags that contractors need to be aware of when they're having conversations with a potential marketing partner or their current one?
I mean, for me as a contractor, I'll tell you, if it sounds too good to be true, then it usually is. It sounds simple, but that would be probably the number one thing that I would tell people.
We have a really dynamic
product.
I was
just going
to say,
but reality is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably not. Mm-hmm. Have them show you data that they've gotten in the past. I mean, that's what we do with our clients. If we jump on a call, we show them the results that we're getting from similar clients.
Right.
And so it's very interesting. There's so many jaded contractors that there are people that are super combative to us because they are in that mindset of it just sounds too good to be true. It's like, well, we'll show you all the data. Totally understand if you don't want to do anything with that because you've been burned before. We are probably the least high pressure salespeople when it comes to marketing companies. I think I've sent maybe 2 follow-up emails in the entire time. I mean, like 4 months of doing this. It's like, it's just, if it's not right for you, then it's not right for you. I mean, it's going to be right for somebody else. And I don't want to fight for it.
Right.
But there are marketing companies. I'm going to build you a website. I'm going to get you to the top of Google. I see these things on Facebook all the time. I'll get you to the top of the Google in 1 month. I'm like,
bullshit.
Yeah. No real marketer is going to say, but that's it. That's just me on the contractor side. Really, if it sounds like a unicorn, then it's probably not real.
Right.
But Kyle's got more.
Mine's real simple. I think that if you don't own your stuff at the end of the day, then that's the worst thing you could possibly do because you've invested money into a product. It's like leasing an apartment that you expected that you were going to own, right, and you don't. And so if you're talking to a marketing company and we have a proprietary system that our website sits on, the first question you'd ask them is, can I take it up and move it to another host at any point in time? Right. And if they say, yes, you can, but it's going to be a little bit different, immediately walk away. Just right. Immediately say, nope, I'm out. Outside of that, you're going to want to make sure that they can account for the dollars that you're spending if it's a PPC thing. Mm-hmm. We worked with one company, same company who owned the website at the company Paul talked me into leaving my marketing career for. Anyway, that not only did they own the website and you could take a skinned version of it away to put on WordPress, maybe-ish if it would work. Don't know. We didn't actually do that. But they also sent to the penny in 3 different categories the exact same dollar spend of a PPC report 2 months in a row. Now, mind you, that second month, we had 1 lead the entire second month from PPC, and it was a $10,000 spend. Now, you tell me who embezzled that money, because I would like to know, because there's somebody who has $10,000 just sitting in a bank account somewhere. Now, I'm not listening to names, so no one can sue me here, but somebody's got $10,000 sitting in a bank account somewhere, and they couldn't answer for it. They had no idea where any of that went, and I think that's a big deal. Is if you don't know where your money's going, then you're not doing your due diligence, and you can't trust people you don't know.
Right. Which comes back to point 2 of Own It, right? If they're running ads in their ad account because they've got a proprietary method of doing it, I'm not a fan of that. Like, you need to be able to see the actual Google Ads account, because there's this one section that I've taught contractors for years on where to look for it because it's so important. It's called change history, and you can see whether they're being active in the account or not. And it will tell you, right? It's fantastic. Highly encourage everyone to make sure that they actually are in their Google Ads account and just look at that. If you look at nothing else, just look at that and make sure you know that they're active in the account. They're actually earning their money month over month.
I went to a company that was spending $3,000 a month for website hosting and SEO. When I gave me a login, the company had no clue who I was. I just thought I was another employee. They gave me the login. That company had not done anything to that website in over 3 months, not changed a thing, not a letter. I don't know why they had to change login. It was their own proprietary, but they had it where you could see what they did. Nobody knew where to check. Well, I'm a nerd, and so I go figure out this stuff. And I'm like, and I got on the phone with them, like, you're screwing these people over. Yep. That is terrible, and I will never recommend you as a service. Well, we're doing this, we're changing. None of that matters. Because if you can't have a person at least log in to this system to at least look around the back end, you're useless. Yep. Yeah. And worthless. And at this point in the game, there's so many other people that can do it better than you're going to do it, no matter what your proprietary thing is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of a potential Soo Good client that I've been working with, and they don't own their website, they don't own their Google, and they're literally working through that with that vendor because they want off of that platform, but this is the shoulder season for them, and so they need a whole new website built out. And they're literally still fighting to get their Google account back, because it's owned as a primary owner by this third-party entity. And I mean, that, like Kyle said, own your stuff. We had a client, a Soo Good client, actually get upset because they said, "Well, you guys own all of our stuff. You own our website. You own our Google and everything." Like, actually, we are owners on a Google account, but you're the primary. You can boot us anytime. We can't do anything with you. And we don't touch websites. Like, we don't have, you're confusing us maybe with your other marketing firm, but and they're great clients. It was a confusing situation, but it's a very strange thing when somebody comes to you and they're like, "Hey, this is you own this." Like, we do not. But I'm helping a lady out of Michigan right now get through that, and literally trying to introduce her to different people that build websites and say, "Hey, you should talk to them. You should talk to them. You should talk to them." These are people that in the trades that I know, they're reputable. And yes, they're expensive, but you're at least going to get a product out of it. Right. At this point, if you can pull your website off of that platform, it is going to be basically a PDF sitting up there on the internet. And so no links are going to work, no SEO. It's almost
usually the homepage works. That's about it.
Yeah, and
if I may clarify something real quick. Paul made a mention of we are owners on the account. We do that for a very specific reason, and I want to, for anyone who goes, "Oh no, they're saying you got to own," but then they're owners on the account. We do that to make sure there aren't other marketing companies, because we have one more story of a client that is a horror story. I mean, in all honesty, they were working with a marketing company, and they pledged loyalty to this company. They came to us. They're like, "We want you to take this over." Well, we don't live in the same world on GBP with other marketing companies. We're just not going to. Our stuff is very specific. It's like chemistry. You throw one chemical in there that's wrong, it blows up. Mm-hmm. So we say no other marketing company lived there. They told that company. Well, that company went and uploaded a crap ton of content about as fast as they could. Got them suspended. I spent over a month and a half getting this account unsuspended and reset up. We're still trying to get reviews fixed. Because it's just not the same. I mean, we had to create a whole new account. We had to then go through that unsuspension process, and ultimately, the whole thing is a whole mess. So yes, we own the account as an owner, but we're not the primary owner. They can always boot us at any point in time. So I want to make sure that anyone who hears that after I just went on a rant about make sure you own your stuff, they know that we're not the actual owners. We just don't want anyone else to be added as a manager without us knowing about it.
Right. We'll add in a couple other points here. One is make sure that you hear about their failures. I loved getting that question as when I ran my marketing agency, because I could tell about what we did wrong, what we did to make it right, and what we did to fix it so it never happened again. And through those stories, I was able to build a lot of trust with consumers and new potential customers, because we could tell real stories. No one's perfect. No one's expecting you to be perfect, but they want to make sure that you're going to own their shit. Right. And more often than not, we caught the problem before the client ever did. And then we came to them and said, "By the way, we screwed up here. This is what happened. I know you probably didn't even know what happened, but we fixed it. Here's what we did. And here's what we want to do to make it right, because it should have never happened in the first place." Right. And it shows a lot of integrity, a lot of trust. And then the last thing is there a buyout? What's the time commitment? What's the contract? Right. Do I have to stick with you for a year? If at the end of the year I decide to move on, what happens then? Does it renew again for another year? What does it flip to month? What is it that happens? Just understand what's in that contract. Obviously, I prefer month to month. I want to see you earn your shit, earn your care, earn your take every single month, or earn the right to continue to work together. But even at the digital agency I was at, On Purpose Media,
which, by the way, there is a review script on there. I'm going to throw it down in the description down below. We'll help Thaddeus out and send some more traffic back his way. I wrote the script, though. But yeah, we had a 6-month agreement, right? But if you want to cancel early, that's fine. Here's the buyout so you can have your website, and that's it. At the end of the 6 months, it's month to month, and you own your website outright. You're the administrator on it anyways to begin with. But we asked for 6 months. If you want to terminate early, here's the conditions of it to buy out your site, because it costs a lot to build a site. And we didn't charge for a website. Website was free with the program, right? And so that's why we had that buyout in there. But I mean, at the end of the day, we never wanted to work with someone that didn't want to work with us.
Well, for us, I mean, we have a setup fee.
Yeah.
No matter who's, you could have an SEO company who built it all out. Again, Google has a specific way they want every little thing. So we are always going to do a new setup.
And it's such a heavy lift at the beginning.
Yeah, and so we have a setup fee. It's $1,000.
Yeah.
It's super cheap, in all honesty. And then we have our monthly charges. Now we have 2 programs. We have the hey, I'm in this for at least a year program.
Right.
A little bit lower price. It's $800.
Yeah. You want to commit to us, we'll commit to you, and we'll give you a discount.
Right, $800 a month. We have the month to month, which we ask you to still hang out with us for 6 months.
Right.
$900.
Right.
So if you want that assurance, we've got it there. It's just we do have to, because we do charge such a low setup fee, we do kind of have to recoup a little bit of that on the back end if you can just bail at any point in time. We don't have a buyout clause. Maybe we should think about that, but right now that's not where we're at. And when they walk away, everything we've done, they continue to own.
Right. I love that too. And that's something you see a lot with SEO companies is like, okay, well, that's fine. You can have your stuff. We're going to take our stuff back.
Pull all your meta descriptions out.
Exactly.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Right. It's shitty.
It's
Or
holding a ransom.
PPC, they'll just, we'll take out everything from your PPC account. It's like, well, I paid you for the work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why does that not stay?
Everything we do stays. The only thing that stops is we stop doing the work.
Right.
And so we still will actually continue to send reports for up to 6 months so you can continue to see how well you're performing.
Right.
And that right there for us is actually, that's the recapture tool, because they will see themselves start to drop. And it actually happens quite dramatically in Google. Not only is it not like SEO that it grows much faster, it also drops off much faster. So right. when you can grow something from a 0% to a 50% in less than 90 days, it also could drop you back down below 10% within the next 90 days if you stop. So for us, that's a retention tool. Like, it's okay if you want to we'll just, if it's been within a couple of, a month or two, we won't have to probably go back through the setup, but we are going to need to get you back onboarded. So we're just going to jump you back on the monthlies. But we are going to continue to send those reports because honestly, it might be a little bit diabolical, but they'll see the performance drop. And then they'll know, actually, we probably do well.
We should have stuck with them. No, that's smart. I like that. So where can people find you?
That's you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, SoGoodTeam.com. That's where they can find us. We have, like I said, we have an ebook on there. We have a way for you to pull your own maps on there so you can see what your map ranking is. This is literally all we do. It's the only thing we have in our tool bag is we focus on Google Maps, and we focus on it hard. I will say we are the best at it. There's only 3 companies that I know that are legit people that do this. We power 2 of them, which is our own, and then another one. And then the other guy, he's doing well for himself. We're really proud of him and being an innovator in this as well. We came out around the same time in the same year, but really, really proud of what is being transitioned into where people are going to start focusing on this.
I love it.
And you can always reach out, hit us up on email, paul@sogoodteam.com or kyle@sogoodteam.com. I mean, when we do these, we get questions all the time, just not even contractor questions. You're like, hey, you talked about getting 5-star reviews. I'm happy to jump on a call with somebody and just talk through that. I love talking contractor. I mean, it's what I've done my whole life. It's not work when I'm talking about running calls or how you can improve your. I was laughing right now because he's like, oh, he's going to go on a rant about improving efficiencies.
I'm less happy, but I'll still do it. No,
no. If you have marketing questions, and that's a Kyle thing. But if you have a contractor question or you have Google Maps ranking questions, those stuff that either one of us handle. But honestly. We do love talking to people, so by all means, reach out. tell us you loved or hated this podcast. It's, if you hate it, it's Evan's fault. He invited us.
That's true. Well, invited you.
He did, so and I invited Kyle, so that is on me.
So if you liked me but didn't like Paul, that's Evan's fault. If you didn't like me, that's Paul's fault, because Paul was like, hey, you're going to be there. Let's see if Evan will throw a third microphone in here and get you recorded as well. So hopefully I've added some value to the conversation.
No, it's been great to have both of you guys on there. I appreciate it a lot. What's one question that you wish people asked you more, but they don't?
Kyle, this is literally Kyle's question.
This is my question that I actually end interviews with at Koala. What question would you like me to ask you is what I ask. Let's see here. This is going to be a long pause, guys.
Yeah, we actually, rate or, interview, when we interview new staff, how they handle this question. When they have long pauses like Kyle does right here, it's not a good sign.
No, not at all.
This podcast rating is going down.
What's the question again?
What's one question you wish people would ask you more, but they don't? In other words, what's a topic that you want to talk more about that most people don't ask you about?
When to make a transition of being a solopreneur to being someone who actually builds a team.
Let's go deep into that.
I don't know how we've been here a minute.
We have. That's all right.
Yeah, so I always say I'm the world's best number two. And what I mean by that is I'm not a visionary. I'm not a person who can say, hey, here's where we're going. I've had my own marketing company before. It was moderately successful. But I never knew who I was. I had 5 different brand transitions in 10 years. I mean, I was all over the place. I did video, I did websites, I did PPC. I was all over the place. And it's because I'm not a visionary. I can't see where that goes. And the opposite of that for most entrepreneurs is they are pure visionary. Right. And they suck at process. So for me, I'm a process machine. It's what I do. It's how I build. For me, I wish people would go, when do I go ahead and make that transition? And the answer is as soon as possible. And don't find you hate something and so you want someone to take that over. You can do that. That's fine. Most people, I hate bookkeeping. I'm going to get a bookkeeper. Fine. Okay. But you need someone who can help build that process if you want to build a company. Now, if you want to stay a 1-man or 3-person company forever, cool. Do that. Make a decent living. But if you want to grow something that you're passing on to generations, you need a business and you need a process you need processes in those business. For me, I've been lucky to do this twice now where I've found 2 people that have wanted someone to help build processes. Paul being the primary one now, who he's a pure visionary. He gets frustrated by process and can do it, but it's not his bread and butter. Right. And for me, you need to find your number 2 and let that person run and don't hinder them. Even when you have the ability and you have the authority to say no to them, unless it's absolutely necessary, they're seeing a different picture than you are. You're seeing a giant, big picture. If you got a really good process person, they're taking all the little pictures and building the big picture out. Correct. So find that person and let them run. All right, I'm done.
Pay them well.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Pay them. Kyle's the number 2. Yeah. We were talking about dry promotions earlier. No.
Right. Oh, let's talk about cuts. I left my good marketing career, cut my salary in half to go work with this guy.
Well, I said I used to.
Good, and now you're so good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. He was just good at that time. Yeah,
exactly.
So, I don't know if you want to deep dive into that, or I actually have an answer to your question, but it's something that I wish more people would ask. How did you make a transition from the field to the office to become an executive? Because so many people want to make that jump, but they really have no idea what the steps are to get there.
Right.
And for me, I wish more people would just ask me, because I'll tell them all the pitfalls that I took on the way there. Because the number one thing that you need when you're going to make that transition is just a strong understanding that you have no idea what's happening behind the scenes in that office. So if I want to get into the office, I want to become a manager, I need to go from the field to that seat, understanding that I actually don't know how to get there and what that job even entails. And if you have that humble and you're ready to go, then you can get into those meetings and you can sit with the people that have been doing it and you can learn from them, because most people that are in management would really love the opportunity to bring people up from the field because they have a lot that they can add, but they just don't get the opportunity to guide somebody because those people don't ask. And then when they get the opportunity, they make the mistake of thinking they know what needs to be done in the office, what needs to be done by a manager. But they don't. They know how to fix something, but they don't understand the processes on the back end. And Kyle said he's the process guy and the visionary. I've been the process guy before, and I learned it the painful way, and I realized I really don't like it. It's just, that's not me, not me at all. So that would be me. I wish people would ask more often of how do I make the transition from being a field tech to getting into a management role and then even growing that into an executive role.
I love that. That's fantastic. Well, and now you're not even just an executive of one company, but now you're managing two. Yeah. So how is that playing out right now? And are you able to divide your focus? How are you splitting your time?
And that's a difficult one, and it's probably the one I battle the most. Yeah. I have my wife and family at home, and then Soo Good actually. There's a lot more travel involved, coming to things like the conventions and doing the expos and those things, getting your name out there, meeting with clients. That was like a once a year thing or maybe a twice a year thing in the contractor world. And now it's 6, 7, 8, 9 times a year. And so I will tell you that the splitting of the focus is hard, but honestly, Kyle and I, we do a really good job of really transitioning conversations. We have one-to-ones 3 times a week now. And it sounds funny to say it that way, but that allows us to, a one-to-one on a Monday is, probably going to be all koala. How we're going to get the week started, get the team off on the right foot, move, towards our goals for the week. And then we'll have a Wednesday one-to-one. And that Wednesday will be a little bit of both koala and Soo Good. How's the week going in koala? If it's not going well, then we deep dive into that more. If it's going well, then we talk about how we're going to continue that towards our goals. And then we transition into talking about Soo Good and if there's any issues we need to discuss. And then Friday mornings, we have another, we review koala. That's real short because we're going to meet again on Monday about what we're going to do for the coming week. And then we have what's going on with Soo Good and how that's going and how we're going to actually start Monday, get started on Friday. And we both end up, I'm going to tell you this, Kyle works more than I do over the weekend, but we both end up working over the weekend with Soo Good and not really with koala. And so we do have a great management team at koala that we've been training up and bringing up. And like I mentioned earlier, we definitely have some more training we should be doing in that. But at the end of the day, they handle a lot of what the day in and day out is at koala that does help us alleviate some of that pressure.
Love it.
What's the question? No, I will tell you that for me, I've naturally been built where I don't sleep a lot anyway. I have the inability to fall asleep. So I will work, much to my wife's chagrin. I will work a lot and I'll work late. I do this little thing where I will work 12 hours at koala and then go home and spend 3 to 4 hours. And once my daughter goes to bed, right, then I'd stay up for another 4 or 5 hours, usually doing Soo Good stuff. We have sales meetings or kickoff meetings that we will do with Soo Good, and we'll just do those as they come. That's not something that we block off this time or that time for. It's just kind of here's where we're at. But I will say my Monday through Wednesday are 100% like koala focused, outside of a meeting here, a meeting there for Soo Good, or after hours. My Thursdays and Fridays, I get to put more time into it because I get to have less meetings. My meetings are stacked in the front of the week, and so that's kind of how I do it. And it works for me. It works for my family. We get to spend time on the weekends. When I work on the weekends, it's usually I'm sitting and we're not doing anything, so I'll just throw my laptop in my lap and we'll work there. But it's been a lot, and I'm excited to continue to grow it, as I've talked about, to make sure it's not just on the 3 of us, because we have Kayla, our other business partner, who is our chief content strategist, who helps make sure the posts go out like they're supposed to, audits the content to make sure it's not terrible, and it's not just posting stuff that just looks awful. So the 3 of us, work pretty diligently to make sure that happens, and I'm really proud of what we're growing, and eventually I'm hoping that we'll have other people that can step in, and we'll actually get to do more stuff like this, because we love to do podcasts and talk and have fun that way. So one day that's a Paul and Kyle goal, is just to be able to do this kind of stuff all the time, and the businesses run themselves, so to speak.
Totally. It's a fun place to get to.
Well, I'll let you know when I get there.
I just got rid of the business, and now I do this.
I'll let you know when I get there. Seems like a lot of these people that we have revered in this industry have gone fractional CMO over and over so they can do stuff like this. And so I'm going, we started a company. I don't know that was, maybe it'll work. Maybe no, it don't. So Good will work. It's becoming a freaking rocket. And so I'm excited to see where it goes, because it's kind of like my first baby that I feel like has actual fuel. Like it actually has something that is going to be a completely different animal than anything I've ever been a part of before.
I love it. Now, what you guys are doing is fantastic. Your heads are in the right place. You're doing all the right things. Just get out in front of more people. So happy that we could do that and provide a platform for you guys to get up on your soapboxes and shout a little bit about the things you're passionate about. But thank you so much for doing what you're doing. It is going to make a real big difference in contractors' lives, because we're given, they're now able to provide a fraction of the amount of marketing dollars to you, and then get the massive return on the back end, because SEO, Google Maps, you're able to get that 15x, 20x, 30x return over time, because that investment stays consistent. Even if you're leasing out multiple buildings. And this is the part that I should have talked about earlier, but when we talk about having multiple locations set up and the cost of that, even if you had to lease a building for $5,000 a month, tell me where you can get 30 to 50 to hundreds of calls a month from a GMB that's doing substantially better than their competitors for $5,000 a month. It's not possible. You can't do that on PPC. That's why you guys have made this transition. So it's fantastic to see. I think you're doing all the right things. Thank you so much for joining us today and venting.
Thanks for having us here.
Yeah, thanks, Evan.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Definitely want to hear what you thought of this episode. Leave a comment down below, let us know. And if you really want to show some support back to us, we could really appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button as well. And if you did want to get notified when we come out with a new episode, hit the bell icon over there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.